Father's Day. You know what that means.
This godforsaken hill.
Hamburg Road Race. Also, my daughter got up at 6 and now she's hiding because she doesn't want to be on YouTube apparently.
Yeah.
But she loves getting attention and she always talks about making a YouTube, so I don't really know why she's hiding. Wife's still sleeping though, so still whispering a little bit. But Hamburg Road Race, big hills, not my thing, but it's gonna be fun. Absolutely huge field in the Cat 4-5. I think we have almost 40 people, so that'll be fun. It's gonna be a beautiful day, and then some family time afterwards. So looking forward to it. All right, we'll see you out there.
We are jumping right into it today. With it being a longer road race, I had to not start the GoPros right at the line. So we've already gone up Fedek on our first lap. This is really only 2 laps in the 4-5 field. It's about 30 miles. That lap counter is going to say 1 out of 3, but that's just because I didn't stop my computer when I crossed the line. But we are already shattering the field. We have not even hit the main climbs. Fedek Road is tough. It's more of a long, sustained effort, but it is not as steep as the Hag Road climb, which is the major hill on this course, I guess. So you can see things kind of shattered behind us. We had to jump across a gap. I was poorly positioned and had to put out much bigger of an effort than I wanted to here. But I thought it was really important to get back on the group before the downhill, because you can see now I'm in the draft and I'm able to get a little bit of rest while you can see these few guys trying to bridge across here are definitely still putting in more of an effort than I am at this point, being able to suck some wheels. I kept trying to let myself drift forward a little bit. I didn't want to grab brakes, but it's so hilly. And I've talked about this on the Marilla course too. With being a bigger guy, I go so much faster on the downhills and then so much slower on the uphills that it's tough to really gauge where you want to be, because I'll shoot forward and then I'll shoot back. I'd much rather be towards the front when we hit hilly spots. So you know, I was trying to do that, but sometimes you just don't have quite the room, and then I gotta grab brakes when I'm on the downhill, and it's not ideal. But you can see things just very surgy this race, and it's, you know, partly to do with the elevation, and it's partly to do with the attacks on the front. Drew Scott from Project was putting in a lot of work attacking the front to keep the pace high. He was working for Greg Sipes and trying to tire out some of the guys we knew were strong coming into this race. That helped me out, because honestly I'm just thinking, well, I'm just gonna hang out in the back and grab wheels and try not to die. Whereas you know, they're all attacking each other and all want to cover those attacks. So I know that there's enough strong guys in the front, but that is kind of what made me get caught out a little bit and have to close that gap, because I was content being on the back, and maybe just there were a few people in the middle of the group there that I had to go around, because they just couldn't keep up with the pace that the front guys were putting down on Fedek. But you know, definitely burned one match that was unnecessary, but luckily I was able to get back on and now I'm able to conserve a little bit more. Jumping ahead just a bit, we are about to turn onto Hag Road, and a couple of guys actually missed the turn. There was a marshal there, and we were kind of yelling, but it's tough if you've never ridden this course before. It's, I think 2 years ago, people missed a different turn, and just ended up way off the course, and had to just DQ themselves. But there was a car there, and there were guys, so it's unfortunate that they missed that one. This is a pretty key point in the race as well, because there's this downhill that if you're not really on the group, everyone's picking up speed in the draft, and then it launches into the really steep climb. So you really want to try to find your positioning. If you saw my Hamburg Road Race from last year, I probably wasn't fit enough to really make it up this hill anyways, but part of it was that I had really bad positioning going into this hill. I was all the way on the back of the group, and I did not want that to happen again this time. So I got behind Zach, who was moving up a bit, and I was trying to stay in the draft, but at the same time, my main goal here when it got steep was just to make sure that I kept as much momentum as I could, so to not really get behind anyone, because when it kicks up to 12%, I'm not really worried about the draft. Andrew, this really strong rider from Salty Chimp, he actually got second in the Binghamton Road Race. That was actually my last video, so you can check that out. Really nice finish from him. He kind of takes off, and I don't want to actually get on his wheel. I know that the hardest part of this hill is yet to come, and it's much longer than it looks. So I'm just trying to hold a good pace. It's kicking up to 12% here, and I'm very okay with if people want to come around me at this point. I'm actually surprised they're not. I maybe should have gone a little bit easier and let more people come around me, so that I wasn't quite spiking into the red as much. Todd actually comes around me, and that was great to see, another PPC kit. And man, he has done amazing this year. This is actually his first year racing. Comes from a running background, and he's definitely got the endurance, because my first year I was not making it up that hill anywhere near the front of the group. But I'm glad a couple of guys fill in here, and this is the toughest part of this hill maybe. I mean, it's still a false flat here. I mean, you're seeing 4%, and we're still putting up over 300 watts, and it just hurts so bad, and you want to stop thinking like, I made it over the hill, let me stop. But this is what breaks the field apart, if you can keep that pressure on. And that is what I didn't do last year, and why I completely got dropped, because I was hanging off the back, and when I crested and everybody hit that false flat and kept the power on, I didn't, and I got dropped so quick. So finally, this is the part where you crest over, and man, it felt so good to hear that freewheel buzz, because I just knew that, all right, from here on out, the backside of the course is not too difficult, and knowing it's mostly downhill, my weight will be an advantage, so I will get a good amount of rest. But I'm already dreading the next time we're gonna go up that hill, so I just kind of get into the wheels, and I know none of these guys are gonna purposely let the wheel go, and they're all gonna try to keep things together. So I am comfortable being further back here and just getting in the draft. So just a few moments of rest here, and then you can see on the right side that Drew Scott is going again. So the pace picks up, and I'm okay with this. I don't feel like I need to chase. there's other people who are much more enticed by it, and I'm just going to grab a wheel. So with it also being on a downhill section, it was really only hurting those people on the front who were deciding to snap to make sure they didn't lose his wheel. And I was able to just kind of grab a draft, and I'm still doing only under 200 watts and mostly coasting when I can. And Todd, who's on the BBC as well, was able to actually catch back on, which is great. I saw him and he was telling him to get in the draft. Great to see that he was able to grab back on. So a couple minutes later, deja vu, Drew's going again. Actually, it's probably like 30 seconds later. I mean, he basically attacked. People caught him. He drifted to the back, and then he attacked again. He was nonstop, and really helped keep the pace high here. So we went through the nice long descent. Everyone stayed together, started to flatten out, and Drew goes again. I think that was Andrew from Salty Chimp gets on his wheel. Spurs a big chase, as they're both active, strong guys. And again, I'm just kind of benefiting because I can just slide over and get on a wheel. I'm still maybe doing a little bit too much. If I had gotten on somebody a little bit quicker, but compared to the guys in the front, I'm sure it was much less of an effort. All right, jumping ahead just a little bit, we've got Life attacking on the right side here. He's a rider out of Canada. This was a good time to attack. Everyone kind of eased up, and no one really wanted to follow that. He didn't have to spike up too hard, but coming from the back, he was able to pick up some speed, get a good gap, and everybody just kind of watched him. And I think in a little bit, Andrew from Salty Chimp, who's right in front of me, does actually try to bridge up to him, and people just let them go for a bit. Here he goes. And I think the guys on the front had the certain people they were marking, and you know what, I don't think that was Andrew. I think that was the other Salty Chimp rider. I don't know. Okay, I can't tell. But people always tend to punch it a little bit after this turn anyway, so I think that was people were waiting, and then they spike up the speed, and knowing that the killer hills are still coming, I think the guys on the front just assumed that that would be coming back. You could see them. They still did have a bit of a gap, but they were coming back slowly as the speed was getting picked up here. Yeah, you can see them there. And we are actually easing off a bit, knowing that they're in sight and we don't need to rush to bring them back too much. Just keeping them there, and knowing that the pace is going to pick up. Sure, when we hit Fedek anyways, no one was really too worried about it. So jumping ahead, we catch up to them just a bit past the start finish, and Life kind of comes back to the back of the pack here, and then I say good job on the attack, and then we joke. He kind of calls me out for mentioning some stuff in the Marilla race that he rode with me in, and he's a strong rider. I didn't mean to call him out on that race. It was just that the one turn he was unfamiliar with, and that was all I was saying. Anytime I call anybody out on these, it's learning experiences. I'm calling myself out constantly in these races, so this is what we're learning from in Cat 4, and I think that's why these videos are so great. I'm learning myself watching the videos back, and hopefully other people are learning as well. But we just kind of are hanging on here, and I think everybody knows that the pace is going to majorly pick up on Fedek again, so no one really pushes it too hard in this section. So trying to get up a little bit in the pack, just open up when this comes into FedEx and have some room to keep my momentum here. I do get a little bit stuck on the back, so it's a little bit jockeying for position, and the pace obviously always picks up here. I forget who just went off the front there a little bit, but people are obviously hitting it pretty hard, and we've had a lot of people dropped at this point, so everyone wants to make the next selection. Everyone's giving it a little second kick here near at the top of this little hill, and we're all feeling it. Anytime my heart rate is in the 170s, I'm absolutely feeling it. But luckily we've got a little bit of a reprieve here with a small downhill section before the next kicker. This whole road is always tough because it's got a tiny bit of these little rolly sections, but overall it's mainly uphill for quite a long drag, and then if people are really pushing the pace, you're pretty gassed by the time you hit that second hill on Hag. And this is 700 watts. That's not feeling good right now. Strong guys keeping the pace high, which in some ways is good because we're obviously gapping the people behind us and making sure that the field doesn't have much opportunity to get back on. You can see this is pretty false flat. We're at 4% right now. It doesn't look like that on the camera, but it's fluctuating here between 2.5%, 6% pretty consistently on this road. And then you've got these little kickers where it's going to go up to 8, almost 9%, and people are really going to punch it. And all these just add up and they hurt. There goes my heart rate back up to almost 170. Just get a little nervous when small gaps start opening. And I know I'm not feeling good. You can see this Ignite rider jumps across. There's a big gap here that I didn't even realize was opening until I tried to get up to see what the Ignite rider was doing. We got a couple people filling in, and then I could see Greg's struggling a little bit as this gap starts opening in front of him. And I think I was poorly positioned. Now I'm going to try to bridge this. I tell Greg to get on my wheel. We're buddies, different teams, but I want to see him up there. All these out of towners, I want to see some Buffalo guys in the finish. So we get back on these guys. I'm hurting though. You can see again my heart rate was 174 there. It's stuck at 173. I'm hurting, and then they pick it up again. And the pursuit rider there, Jacob, he's super strong. He's been keeping the pace high the whole race, and you can see he's looking back, trying to see if everybody's on or if we're struggling. And I think he takes a little breather here and there, and then he keeps keeping the pace up, which is really hurting us. The Ignite rider pulls through, and he's putting in a big dig, and Jacob actually has to jump back onto his wheel because gap was starting to open a little bit there. But my heart rate's still 170. Again, the longer it's there, the more I'm hurting. And now we're spiking up. I was trying almost at 500 watts, and this gap was opening. Ooh, I remember this. This was tough. So you got the Ignite rider again taking a pull here. Alessandro is in the blue, and it's pretty amazing how much he's progressed. If you saw my Hamburg video from last year, we actually rode together to the finish after we both kind of got dropped on the hill, and now he was positioning great, and spoiler alert, he actually wins this race. I wasn't there at the finish. I did well, so you can keep watching, but he won it, so super cool to see, okay, so this is a defining thing. If I could have just held on a tiny bit longer onto the downhill, I think in my mind I was thinking, oh, well, it's the downhill, I'll catch back on because I'm heavier, but I have no draft, and yeah, I can see them getting closer here, but they smash this when they get back to it, and I just, I'm trying to I've got 400 watts, and I just don't think I'm able to grab back on here. Oh, they're getting close, they're getting close, they're getting close, and then they're going away. I flick these guys, and I'm like, I need you to help me here. And then it takes me a second to get on these wheels. I'm hurting, and I'm hoping that these guys are going to close the gap. And I really should have followed this Salty Chimp rider, because I think he realized that our little group was not going to catch back on fully. We're close, but I think Todd's on the front here. We really needed to be pushing it and close. That was our opportunity, and I should have jumped on his wheel, and I was just so tired. I really wanted these guys to help close it. I didn't want to spike up and have to sprint across like he did, but that was needed. That was the move right there, and that was my missed opportunity. That's where we lose the front group. The 5 of them get away, and it ends up being the 3 of us. So again, lessons learned. Sometimes you got to know how tired the guys in your group are, and you can't always trust them to close the gap, and you got to know when the opportunity is. And I even could have jumped on that wheel. It would have hurt really bad, but I would have been in the front group, and you never know. Everyone else is hurting, and that group of 5, yeah, that was a really good effort for them to get away, but it also broke our morale, and we are not working quite as hard to get them. I mean, you can see definitely well under 300. I'm going 100 watts right now. We're kind of broken and letting them go. So at this point, they actually could ease up a little bit if they needed a breather, or they're obviously rotating, so they've got more guys to work, and they can take little breaks. It's like doing over unders when you're on the front or on the back, and that's how it goes. So it's just you work just a little bit harder for a little bit longer, and you can get away, and then it's, you can still get a break. It's not like you're going to be pinned for the rest of the race. I think mentally it's tough to know that the pace will subside, and you just got to remember that. So we got this group of 3, and I think at this point I go to the front, and I'm like, look, let's try to get at least closer. I mean, who knows? They might give up. I don't know how hard they're pushing. So I try to pick the speed up. Again, I know I might be a little faster on downhill anyways, so I'm not pushing super hard, but I'm going to keep our speed high and see if we can get our little group rotating. So we've been working together, and we were actually at this Hag, the really steep hill, and Todd decided to kind of put in an attack at the bottom of it. And I was fine just doing my own pace. I thought it would be better if we try to work together. He's a newer rider. I don't know if he really thought that through, but I think sometimes, you see a hill and you just want to hit it as hard as you can, which I get. So I think I'm telling Greg, like, I got nothing. I didn't know if he wanted to go around me and try to get to Todd, but I think he was content just with the two of us working and seeing what'll happen. So we eventually actually catch Todd. I yell out to him as we get close later, and I'm just like, hey, just work together, and there's no point in you going solo and blowing yourself up in between here. Might as well keep the pace high, work together as the three of us. So we caught Todd on the hill. I yelled out to him. We all kind of joined together, and we were rotating pretty well. It's a little bit hard on the downhill to really work together. But near the end of the hill, I took a long pull on the front and kind of did it so that no one would look to me to do a pull near the end of the race here, and I'd be able to just chill in the wheels and get ready for a sprint. So we were actually joined by a fourth rider here. He did an awesome job to catch us here after the hill, and yeah, he's asking me what's going on, and if there's people off the front, or if we're the front, and I kind of explained those five guys were gone at this point, so it's just going to be a sprint for us. And so we're just kind of setting up for that, and you can see no one really wants to take a pull at this point, and I don't think we were concerned about anyone catching us. I was asking the rider, how far people were behind him. He said he got away, no one was there. So we do actually almost get caught by another rider. The other Salty Chimp rider was actually right behind us, and I think it was tough because I kept looking back and I just saw the car behind us, so there was no way to tell if there were people behind us or not. Alright, so we've made the last turn. We're on the finishing stretch. There is a yellow line rule in effect. So if you attack over the yellow line blatantly, it can be a DQ or a relegation. You can actually see in the back camera that Salty Chimp rider did catch on to Todd here. So we are getting ready. The road does open at 200 meters, and this guy unfortunately blatantly attacks over the yellow way before the 200-meter mark where the road would open up. And we all just kind of look at each other and say, that's a DQ. No one follows him. I was in position to get on his wheel. Todd kind of pushes me a little bit here, and so I decided to just let him slot in, and he can keep our pace up a little bit, and I'll actually be able to get a bit of a sprinter's gap on Greg here. I see Greg look, and this is when I go. I just figure I can pick up the speed, get the differential to get around him. I actually get relatively close to the rider in front of us. I'm fairly confident I could have gotten on his wheel if he didn't go over the line. So I take 6th, get some more upgrade points. A bit of a bummer for the guy in front. He had a great race, but this is Cat 4. This is how you learn. He didn't understand the yellow line rule, and now we do. And hopefully he'll come back out to Buffalo, and we'll be able to sprint again. So thanks for watching. Happy Father's Day. She's just in here watching TV all day long.
Oh, yeah.
We're about to have dinner, and they got me some really awesome gifts. and a Ninja Cremi. Trainer Road talks about this, so if you haven't heard about it, it's pretty friggin' awesome. But you can make anything that freezes into ice cream, basically. Then you put your own mix-ins in, but you can use protein shakes and all sorts of stuff. You could make it like a recovery ice cream. It's pretty cool, and like really nice ice cream consistency, and just out of whatever you want. So you can get like a whole pint of ice cream that's like 400 calories and like 40 grams of protein. It's pretty sweet. So check that out. Maybe I'll post an Amazon link for it. If you're not grilling on Father's Day, are you even a father? All right, the spinning is done. What do we got? Oh man.
That looks good.
Oh, I'm gonna eat so much of that, and I'm not gonna have to feel bad about it either.
It's gonna be good. I'm still riding the race vibe, so I'm weird right now. I will see you guys on the next video. Freedom Run. If you're not registered, do it, because that is my personal favorite. Local race, and if you don't know about it, check it out. Really cool venue at a winery, and there is like a probably a 90-second all-out effort climb on it, which makes things interesting, but it is not enough to be like a climber's course, so I really love it. Yeah, check it out, and hopefully I'll see you there.